less water around you to stop the ship. In simple words, the momentum of the ship will get carried much more, and that is the reason why stopping distance and turning circle both will increase. Both will increase for the same reason. Why? Because there is insufficient water being displaced, which is able to resist your momentum. Yes, you see, this is again, it might sound confusing, because when we said that the resistance increases, yes, the resistance increases, but the resistance, whatever it increases, it is locally at the bottom, and it is not sufficient. It is not sufficient to what we say that to make the ship to stop, right? The momentum it carries on furthermore. Then again, we are saying that the speed reduces. Yes, the speed reduces for the same RPM. So then why does it not stop? Because when you stop the engine, the ship is being carried much longer. The second thing is this flow of water at the rudder. The flow of water at the rudder is reduced. And because the flow of water at the rudder is reduced, therefore, the rudder is not able to create those, what we call, whatever the forces is required for turning the ship. Remember, we talked about this drag and lift the other day. Yes. The turning forces will be reduced because the flow of the water is reduced. Okay. Right, now. So then, can you everybody switch on your videos? We are coming into Colregs, and I want each and every person to take part. So we first start with the question that was asked, that is annexes. Now, what are the annexes? Somebody can just read the heading for annexes. The first, we start with Annex 1 only.
Positioning and technical details of lights and shapes.
Yeah, bilkul. So positioning and technical details of lights and shapes. So what do you need to study here? What do you need to study here? Okay, vertical positioning and all that is okay. But what is most important is the screen for the side lights. Yeah. So the angle at which they are going to cut off. So ये दिया हुआ है. Yeah, shape. Please mark that one. Number 6. Annex में number 6 is shape. Please mark that one. That is something that you need to be very confident about. Please mark that one. 6. Number 6. Now number 1 is horizontal distances and क्या कहते हैं? Number 1 definition हो गया. Number 2 is vertical positioning. Number 3 is horizontal positioning. Number 4 is details of location of direction indicating lights, screen for side lights. So the screen has to be, ye dekho, in the everybody's got this page open ki nahi?
Yes, sir.
Chitresh, Srirag, have you got the pages open? Yeah. And in that number 5, dekho, screen for side lights. This is a question that is asked in the second line. The side light of vessels 20 meters or more in length shall be fitted with inboard screens painted matte black. So this question is asked sometimes, that what is the color and what is the paint that you will use for the screens? Usme dekho specifically wo likha hua matte black, right? That's all we need to know here. Then number 6. Number 6 is very important from your oral's point of view. This question is asked so many times. Diameter of the ball, cone, cylinder, diamond, isko yaad karna padega, right? So 6, please make sure you have a good understanding of each one. 6B, again, very common question which is asked. When you have 2 shapes, let us say 2 balls, or let us say ball, diamond, ball. In that case, what should be the distance between each shape? 1.5 meters. Yeah, देखो 6B में लिखा हुआ है, एकदम underline करके रख दो उसको.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next we come to 7, color specification, not very important. Next we come to 8. 8 में देखो 8 में usually if you are able to have a rough idea of the table which is given, that is sufficient. Right? So roughly we can say 64 candela, 94 candela will give you about 6 miles of visibility. Okay? So I think ditna kafi hai. Then we come to the most important part, that is number 9. This is the most important part that is required, number 9. इसमें देखना what is the cutoff, right? So in the forward direction, side lights will allow you for practical cutoff between 1 to 3 degrees, right? For this reason, अगर 3 degree का cutoff है for the side lights, right? For this reason, what the courts have ruled is that head-on situation will be 3 degree इसका, 3 degree target vessel का. So how much total हो गया? 6 degrees. So if it is within 6 degrees of the opposite course, right, then we will use the head-on situation rule. So head-on situation rule कब आएगा? When it is within 6 degrees of the opposite course. क्यों 6 degrees? Because ये 9A में, 9A part 1, you will find intensity shall decrease to reach practical cutoff between 1 to 3 degrees outside the sector. 3 degrees, that is the keyword. So 3 degrees इसका, 3 degrees उसका, दोनों मिला के हो गया 6 degree. So that is the reason, right? Next, stern lights and mast lights 22.5 degrees above the beam, right? This is again, ये वाला जो है, this part, the horizontal में A वाला part and B वाला part. So number 9, you please highlight it. ये पढ़ के इसको याद करना है, right? So 22.5 degrees above the beam. Then remember, this is the reason why your overtaking vessel, the requirement is she should not be able to see your side light, right? So overtaking vessel means a vessel is coming up in such a way that she cannot see your side light. She can only see your stern light, side light or your masted light for that matter. Yeah. So that is the part in number 9. We come to number 10. As long as you are able to remember 5 degrees, that is good enough. 5 degrees plus 5 degrees minus. Itna kafi hai. Right. That is good enough. As far as number 1 is concerned, that is good enough. Anything you want to ask here? Now, who asked me this question regarding Annex? Is there anything you want to ask me here in this one? Annex 1. I've highlighted the ones that you need to study. Horizontal sector, vertical sector, and the size of the shapes. That is what is the important part that you need to understand and need to study. And wo bhulna mat, matte black. The paint is matte black inside the screens. Yes, bolo. Anything you want to ask? Anybody? Anybody? Anything you want to ask? Okay, let's go to Annex 2. Somebody can please read the heading.
Additional signals for fishing vessels fishing in close proximity.
बिल्कुल. तो इसमें क्या है कि number 2 and number 3. So please include this in your table. Remember, I told you to make a table: power-driven vessel, ram vessel, power-driven vessel, ram vessel, not under command. ये जितना भी है, इसके साथ में you include this one, trawler. And number 3 में देखो purse seiner, trawler and purse seiner. So we have additional lights, shooting nets, hauling nets, right? So these should go into that table. So what are the day signals? What are the night signals? Then क्या कहते हैं उसको? Pair trawling, then purse seiner. What is a purse seiner? What is a trawler? Anybody? What is a trawler? 26, देखो, 26B. Rule number 26B gives you the definition of a trawler, right? So when you write down trawler, then your definition is given in 26B. उसके बाद में 1, 2 and 3, that is your masted lights and 2 all-round lights in a vertical line, upper being green, lower being white. So basically green over white. ये लिख लिया. Then masted light, then side light, then stern light. ये सब हो गया. Next, you come to the Annex 2, and here under number 2, you write down what light she is supposed to show: shooting nets, hauling nets, and if the nets are obstructed. ठीक है? This is how your table should be prepared for the trawlers. Is that okay? ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
ट्रॉलर का डेफिनेशन देख लिया ना?
Yes, sir.
Vessel engaged in trawling, by which it is meant that dragging through the water of a dredge net or other apparatus used as a fishing appliances. Dragging through the water. That is what is called trawler. And purse seiner is a specific equipment. So if you just do a Google, you will find what is a purse seine. Now, purse seiners they are basically they are small ships which are dragging very large nets. That is the problem. This is the problem, right? Okay, so that's Annex 2. Annex 3. Annex 3. Shall we have a look at Annex 3?
वो जो net fast to the obstruction वो भी per scene net ही होता है.
That is under trawler, na? That is under trawler.
Yes,
Whenever
sir.
we are talking about a trawler, that trawler fellow is going to do all of that. Na? A के अंदर है. Now, when we go to purse seine, because the purse seine it is a large net, and when the net is full of fish, the boat cannot maneuver. So she becomes basically restricted in ability to maneuver. But she is a fishing vessel. So uske chalte they have given this special light where they are saying that 2 yellow lights in a vertical line. These lights shall flash alternatively every second and with equal light and occultation duration. These lights may be exhibited only when the vessel is hampered. Hampered means she is restricted in ability to maneuver. So that is when the purse signal comes. Okay. Next, we come to the sound signal. That's okay with fishing vessels. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Sound signal. Now, sound signal may whistle. Whistle may, I would refer that just go to that table again. If you can just, mug up that table, that is good enough. And usme be the first column and the last column. I think that should be good enough. 200 meters or more, audible range 2 miles. Less than 200, 1.5, less than 75, 1, less than 20.5. Do you think we can do that?
Yeah.
इतना तो कर ही सकते हैं. उसके बाद में just read up that part 2 में where they are talking about the bell or gong. Just read up that part 2. And part 2 and 1F, that is something important. Yeah, 1F, that is something important. उसमें क्या कहता है कि if your ship is more than 100 meters, you must have एक पीछे एक आगे. That is what it means. Any questions on this part? Yeah. Any questions on this part?
सर ये आप जितना मार्क करवा रहे हो ये विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ओरल्स और रिटन्स आल्सो.
Returns may usually the questions are more approach based and more concept based. These technical details, they are more like a mugging up of the story. So they are usually, I don't think, I can't remember also if there has been any questions like this in the returns.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the last one, distress signals. Now, distress signals, इसमें you please mug up at least 5 or 6. कम से कम 5-6 you'll have to mug up. Yeah. That continuous sounding of fog signaling apparatus, Mayday spoken, November Charlie flag, rocket parachute smoke signal, signals transmitted by EPIRB, all of that. Now, I have one question here. Why are the distress signals included in Annex 4? Anybody wants to try to answer that? Why are the distress signals part of Annex 4? Why have they put it in the Colregs? Okay, the answer इसमें कुछ ज़्यादा कुछ experiment इसमें नहीं है. The idea is that this is एकदम पुराना story है. So शुरू से लेके it is there. Now the question is why it is there. It is there because one of the major duties of lookout is to watch for distress signals. Right? Lookout का जब duties कहते हैं ना, lookout का duties, what is the lookout supposed to watch out for? What is he supposed to be looking for? He will look for target vessels, fishing vessels, navigational hazards, something which is floating. At the same time, he is also supposed to look for distress signals. And this distress signals, उसका एक, in the new, I've got an old edition here, but in the new edition, there is a poster with all of these. It is there in the poster, and it should be posted on the wheelhouse. ताकि lookout, he will see कि अच्छा ये distress signal है, ठीक है भाई, इसको बताओ क्या distress signal है. We are able to see something like this, right? So what is distress signal? There is one peculiar one here. Something like moving your arm up and down continuously. किधर गया?
Sir, K point.
Yeah, point K. Very important. Huh? Slowly and repeatedly raising and lowering arms outstretched to each side. ये orals में पूछेगा. You are on a lifeboat, सब कुछ निकल गया. You have already fired all your जितना था, सब कुछ हो गया. Nobody has seen you. Now you have a ship and you want to attract attention. What you will do? This is what you will do. Okay. Right. So that's all about the annexes. Any questions, any doubts on this one you want to ask?
सर एनेक्स 1 में एक वो है कि मतलब मैन्यूवरिंग लाइट के बारे में बताया गया है, वो बता दीजिए थोड़ा कि मैन्यूवरिंग लाइट क्या.
Anybody has seen a maneuvering light on a ship? ये अपना जहाज में दिखेगा, दूसरे का जहाज में नहीं दिखेगा. This is the clue.
Yes, sir, वो ब्लू कलर की होती है सामने मास्ट.
स्टीयरिंग लाइट.
वो स्टीयरिंग
लाइट हुई ना वो.
सर ये तो हेल्प से ढुकेगा. हेल्प से. Thank you. Sorry. Once more, please. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Maneuvering light, steering light, both are the same. So, can you explain what is that?
Light to watch the head of the vessel.
Yes. Especially if, what is the color of that?
Blue.
Blue, sir.
Blue, sir.
Yeah. So it is separate from everything else. So you cannot mistake it for a buoy. You cannot mistake it for another ship, right? So this is an absolutely different and separate light altogether. And is it visible from the forward? Other ship can it see?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. It is
No,
aft
the
facing
other ship.
towards bridge.
Yeah, it will be aft facing only. Yeah. So that is what is the story here. So it will be located on the foremast, and from the bridge you will see that, and then accordingly you can do your alterations and everything. You know exactly where your bow is going. This is for use in the night, especially in canals and rivers and channels. Pilots are very keen on using this one.
सर जो पनामा लाइट होती है वो भी ब्लू कलर होता है, तो ये सेम है क्या? स्टीयरिंग एंड पनामा.
Panama light जो होती है, I think that is the name that they use. That's all. The maneuvering light, that is the name that they use.
सर बट रूल 34B के हिसाब से तो ऑल राउंड व्हाइट लाइट बता रहा है.
What is that?
34B के हिसाब से तो सर ऑल राउंड व्हाइट लाइट बता रहा है, ये जो मैन्यूवरिंग लाइट जो होता है.
No, that is a separate light. Maneuvering, that is a separate light. We are talking about the steering light. That is what is the Panama light. Now the maneuvering light you can use to give even DIDA signal. You can use DIDA signal on the bridge. You will have a button to press next to the maneuvering light. You will have a button to press. You can do signaling from there. देखो इसमें क्या कहता है नेक्स्ट में, notwithstanding the procedure provisions of this, the maneuvering light described shall be placed in the same 4.5 vertical plane as the masted light, where practicable a minimum height of 2 meters vertically above the masted light, provided that below. On vessels where one masted light is carried, the maneuvering light, if fitted, shall be carried where it can be best seen not less than 2 meters vertically apart from masted light. 2 meters above the masted light. That's what it says. That's all. Right? So this is fitted on your main mast. This one will be fitted on your main mast. Usually, it is not fitted on your क्या कहते हैं? If you see the Christmas tree के बिल्कुल ऊपर में that this light will be there. So this is a signaling light. You can do a Morse code transmission on this one. You can do a Morse code transmission on this one. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
The other one is a steering light or Panama. Yeah, the Panama light or steering light. That's the other one.
एक सर ये भी क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था मेरे से कि वो जो डेंजरस मतलब होता है ना रेड लाइट, वो किसका रिक्वायरमेंट है जो हम यूज करते हैं ऑयल टैंकर्स पे, मतलब जो कार्गो टैंकर्स पे मतलब यूज करते हैं, गैस टैंकर. हाई इंटेंसिटी रेड लाइट होता है जो कंटिन्यूअस मतलब वो मतलब ब्लिप करता रहता है, वो मतलब कोल्ड्रिक्स में कहीं पे है नहीं, तो वो किसका रिक्वायरमेंट है ये पूछा गया था.
Just check up in SOLAS maybe. Just check up. I will check up and I will let you know. I can't remember offhand. Definitely, it is not a collision regulations light. It is part of. It has to be flashing light as per. ISGOT में लिखा हुआ है ना. There is one recommendation is there in ISGOT. उसमें लिखा हुआ है that you should have a flashing light when you are carrying, discharging. Now this is there in इसमें देखो. Check up in the interco. Check up in the interco, and then you can put it in the chat if you can't find. Yeah, okay. Next question and the last part that we are going to do is what is the difference between give way and stand on vessel? Sorry, give way and not to impede vessel. What is the vessel which is not to impede? ये कहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है? Where do we have the reference to a not to impede vessel?
Rule number 8, sir. J part.
Rule number 8, J part. But does it highlight anything there?
Sir, 9 में भी बोलता है कि vessel shall not impede the safe passage of the other vessel.
Yeah.
Safely maneuvering in a narrow channel only.
Yeah. So does it say anything there?
सर वो किसी भी वेसल के बारे में बोल रहा है, इसमें कोई पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन नहीं बोल रहा, क्योंकि वो जो वेसल कोई भी सिचुएशन, it can be the stand on vessel also shall not impede the vessel passage of the other vessel.
Can it be the give way vessel also? This is where the problem. Yeah. So if it is a give way vessel which is not to impede, then we have a different scenario, and if it is a not to stand-on vessel which is not to impede, then we have a different scenario. Now, what is a give-way vessel? ये कहाँ लिखा हुआ है?
Rule number 16.
Yeah, rule number 16, it is very clear what is the give-way vessel. Can you please read out? Okay. Directed to, yeah.
Every vessel which is directed to keep out of the way of another vessel shall, so far as possible, take early and substantial action to keep well clear.
Right. So this is what is a give-way vessel. It is defined in rule number 16, and what it is supposed to follow is very, very clear. And whatever it is written here is basically rule 8A, 8B, etc. So that is what is a give-way vessel, right? Now, later on, we will find some more examples of give-way vessel. Uske pehle bhi diya hua hai. For example, rule number 13. Again, it is very clear, rule number 13. The overtaking vessel must keep clear of the other vessel. Principal, sir. কিছু লাগবে না আপনার নাম ইমেল আইডি ফোন নাম্বার right. So 13 requires that overtaking vessel shall keep out of the way. So overtaking vessel is the give way vessel. 14, head-on situation. Who is the give way vessel? Anybody?
A vessel which is having other vessel on her starboard side.
Over head-on situation. We're talking about head-on situation.
Sorry, head-on.
Both vessels.
Both vessels again.
Absolutely. Both vessels. Bilkul. Both vessels. Now 8F, as you have already somebody has answered that it talks about not to impede. Now, what is the concept of not to impede? The concept of not to impede, it comes basically from rule number 2. In rule number 2, we talked about compliance with the law. What are the 3 items that is covered in rule number 2? Remember, rule 2 mein 2A. What are the 3 items that a watchkeeper needs to take care of? Yeah,
Sir,
Seamanship.
Ordinary practice of seamanship.
Yeah, and
Special circumstances.
Special circumstances.
yeah, bilkul. So this special circumstances is what is coming, and what is what basically we are referring to in this not to impede concept, and also best practices. For example, if I have a simple power-driven vessel and we have maybe a ram vessel or a CBD vessel, definitely we are not supposed to impede the safe passage of that other vessel. This is simple rule 2A. But make sure that people understand the concept. They've put it down also in rule number 18. Okay. Next comes, proper action. So every ship must take action. Now, what is the action? That is the proper action. That is what is the next part of it. Then uske baad mein aata hai your rule 8 and everything else. They are already covering that part there, right? So let me just try to, yeah. Then rule 9 and rule 10, you will find that they are very, very similar, that ships which are less than 20 meters and sailing vessels, they are not supposed to impede the safe passage of the other vessels. So this is where the concepts come in. So when you make a note, please highlight, usko lik ke padho, right? And after writing down, it is better that you separate whatever is common, and then mark against it the rule number itna. So that will help you to remember in the long run. Okay? So fine, then that's all from my side. Thank you very much. Extreme caution, yeah. Reduce and proceed with extreme caution. So extreme caution means she should be ready to go astern at any time. She must have sufficient lookouts, right? She must have a good helmsman on the wheel, right? Engine should be ready to go astern. Engine room manned, most likely that is better. Lookouts, when I say lookouts, should be forward on the Monkey Island wherever is required. So those are what we call as extreme caution. And speed should be minimum, as low as possible, just required